Hello everybody, this is Maria. I'm the founder of Fitness Reloaded, and I'm shooting this video to talk about why I don't eat bacon, confirm that my Facebook page has not been hacked and it was indeed me posting about this, and address some of the questions that were raised. I have some notes here, so I'm gonna start one by one, but first I want to tell you about something that happened a few months ago, and I haven't yet talked about it. And I want to give you a little bit of history because that will help you understand where I'm coming from better instead of making false assumptions. So months ago, I just kept noticing in the fitness world that protein comes with a lot of hype. Like I kept saying that, eat protein with every meal, it keeps your satiety up and it will help you lose weight and building muscle. And did I say about how protein increases your satiety? So it was a lot of things related to protein, and I just kept wondering, well, fiber increase your satiety, and fiber has been associated with so many tremendous health benefits when it comes to both reducing cancer risk and living longer, heart disease. Like, fiber is pretty amazing, and also most people are deficient in fiber, which is not something that is true for protein. So why do I not see the same level of attention for fiber? Okay, so that's what really got me thinking, and I started reading more and reading more and reading more, and that's how I got deeper into nutrition research. Now, I have been reading nutrition research for years. I was mostly focused on the Mediterranean diet in the past, but this time I reviewed vegetarian and vegan diets, which is something I was not doing much in the past. I think the reason behind this was that I was biased. I had this inherent bias in favor of not excluding anything and just being able to eat whatever it is you want, but maybe adjusting amounts depending on what it is you're eating, but having the ability to eat whatever. And I think this is what stopped me from being more open about this. And I noticed I had resistance at first, and I also didn't like what I was reading. Okay, I didn't really like reading studies that were showing that, let's say, vegetarians were doing better in heart disease and cancer. And I'm generalizing here because this is not just one study, it's multiple studies than even moderate meat eaters. And sometimes vegans do even better than vegetarians. I was really, really concerned. I didn't like reading this. And then I think I just had an honest conversation with myself. And looking at what I was eating, I thought, well, you know what, I'm not even doing I'm not even following the Mediterranean diet, which is in support of moderation. And I'm Greek, and I'm not even doing what my grandparents were doing. And they were not eating red meat multiple times a week or on a weekly basis. Maybe they would eat it like once a month. Okay, this is the type of frequency we're talking about. And I thought, okay, I'm not doing that, and also I'm not eating the amount of fruits and vegetables that they were eating. They were eating a lot more than I was. So I thought, okay, I have room for improvements, and I'll start working towards that. Okay, so that is what has been happening in the last few months. I ended up being mostly vegan, and I say mostly because I eat fish regularly, but I'm not gonna consume a lot of animal products. not really. Once I started, even though I was aiming to do like a very good version of the Mediterranean diet, I didn't find that I was missing any foods. And I kept reading on about the science. I wanted to talk about that, but I didn't talk about it earlier because I expected I would be attacked, and I didn't post about eating bacon expecting this type of reaction. I expect people wouldn't like it because it's bacon, but not at this level. So now let's move on to specific arguments. Okay, so the thing about bacon is that it just doesn't look good from multiple angles. Okay, first you have the heart disease risk, which is something that I really care about. It's red meat. Okay, guidelines are to limit red meat. Saturated fat, all that good stuff. Then you have the cancer risk, and some people were talking about the difference between relative risk and absolute risk. And I do understand that your absolute risk might not go up that much. It depends though. It depends on the numbers you're using, because let's say if you're a vegetarian, you have a lower risk than the general population. So that's kind of muddy. But anyway, I don't think you can just deny that there is a link between red and specifically, and even more, a link between processed meats and cancer. Now, is this something you need to worry about? That, in my opinion, is a personal decision that you will have to make. Personally, I care a lot about living a long life, and I care a lot about not just being here, but also being in a good condition. Okay, so I don't want to go to a nursery home. I don't want to get, let's say, a stroke that would leave me with disabilities and live 10, 15 years of my life, or who knows how long, with difficulties in speech, or who knows what. So the thing is, you get to choose the level of comfort, okay, depending on your personal goals and your preferences and your lifestyle. You choose your level of comfort. Like, some people asked, why are you using the American Heart Association guidelines for saturated fat instead of using, let's say, the government guidelines? Okay, so American Heart Association allows for 5 to 6% of your total calories to be from saturated fat, while many different government guidelines allow you to eat up to 10, sometimes maybe more, but usually 10%. The reason is I care about heart disease. Like, I care about preventing heart disease. That's why I chose those guidelines. And if you think these guidelines are strict, well, there are other doctors and other diets that are even more strict than the American Heart Association. So these are not the strictest guidelines that I could choose to compare to, but I use them as a reference point. Some people compared bacon to cheese. I think that was because of the saturated fat content. The thing is that the science on processed meat and on red meat is more straightforward, while the science on dairy is more muddy, okay? It's more complicated. So you have to look at it as a whole, as a picture, not just with a reductionist point of view, because, you could argue that well, avocado has low saturated fat, so I'm not going to eat avocado, but it's not just because, but that's not what I do. I eat avocado regularly as long as I'm within limits, my saturated fat allowance. But avocado doesn't have the negative associations that red meat and processed meat has, okay? So bacon just doesn't look good as food, okay? Next, I want to say that I don't run Fitness Reloaded to confirm anybody's beliefs, and I don't run to support any industry either. I'm saying that because some people sometimes accuse me of supporting an industry, sometimes they accuse me of not supporting an industry. That's not what I do. I do my best to live a healthy life, and I rely on science to get pointed towards how to live that healthy life. So some people talked about changes in direction of what I'm doing. There was no change in direction, okay? I have updated my knowledge, and that's a sign of somebody who has an open mind. Next, what about moderation? Okay, can't you have bacon every once in a while? Well, that's up to you. Okay, this is your personal judgment call. I do not think science can come to a definite conclusion like, yeah, it's okay to eat it every other day, or once a week, or once a month, or once a year, or never. I think, science just paints a picture, and then based on this picture, you make a decision for yourself. That's also partly why I create this graphic about why I choose not to eat bacon. You get to do whatever it is you want to do based on your life, but based on my life and my goals, I'd rather avoid it. Okay, I have better options. Okay. Now, some people accused me of fear-mongering. First, let me say that it was not my intention to scare people, and also I'm not afraid of bacon, personally. I'm not afraid. It's not like, oh, I'm not going to touch this poison. Not at all. It's not like bacon is a fast-acting poison, okay? I'm not afraid of it, and I don't think you should be afraid of it either. I personally am doing my best to live healthy, and in retrospect, should I have maybe adjusted my wording to make this sound softer? Maybe. I'll consider it. Like, I'll take this feedback into account. At the same time, I am not eating bacon, and just by not eating it, that's something that some people consider extreme by default. So saying you don't eat it sounds extreme, no matter how you say it. So that was it from my end. I hope this answered any questions you may have had. Even though, to be honest, only few people asked questions. Most people just attacked me. I am gonna be talking more about my personal decisions. If you don't like what I've said so far, then that's fine. You don't have to. If you like it, and especially include more plants in your diet, we're gonna help you with that, so stick around. That's it for today. Thanks for watching. Bye.